Shalom. Amber Guyger. This Amber Guyger case should stand as a lesson on how to make a coon. Yes, the coonery was on display. The coonery had a meltdown during this case and the handing out of his verdict. It was a coonable in that courtroom. It was a, full scale COON-POCALYPSE. What it really shows, though, all kidding aside, I'm not going to go into detail as to what happened in that courtroom because I'm pretty sure everyone has seen it. They saw the black bailiff combing this murderer's hair. They saw the brother of the murderer give one of the most coon-infused testimonies probably ever uttered from the mouths of a coon in human history. Then he topped it off with a hug of the murderer of his brother. That was the coon cherry on top of the coon sundae. And then, of course, to break the whole coon mold, we have the black woman judge come down from the stand, hand a convicted murderer a Bible, and then give her a hug. And they all lived happily ever after in Coonland. That's how that story would end if it was a book. A very bad book, a very poorly written book, with misspelled words, poorly punctuated sentences, a book that looked like a 10-year-old with Tourette's syndrome wrote it. That's how it would have ended. But coonery on high display, coonery personified, coonery to the maximum of the coon level. They went Super Saiyan coon. Yes, they achieved Super Saiyan coon. That's quite a few levels above a Super Saiyan blue and a Super Saiyan God and everything. Way above all that, you have Super Saiyan coon. That's what we saw on display. So, yeah. But you need to consider the origin of this coonery. Well, right there is what you see. It's the effect of Christianity, what it was meant to do. That was the whole purpose of, if this serves any purpose in today's time, it's to show us exactly what Christianity was meant to do to us. It was to instill a level of passivity, I don't know if that's a word, but passiveness and coonery that would allow our enemies to do what they wanted to do and what they needed to do to progress this country to the point it has been, that's made it to. It was by design to keep us from basically mucking everything up. See, if we were in constant revenge mode this whole time over here, America would not exist. There's no way it could have existed with 20 million ex-slaves running around killing any white Gentile that they saw. as revenge. So they had to instill in us, and this started during slavery when we came over on the ships. They had to instill in us a fail-safe mechanism. That fail-safe mechanism was called Christianity, and the ever forgiving deity that it worships. Everybody wants to be like that deity. We've been told that that deity will forgive you for basically any damn thing. So, as a result, we all were encouraged to emulate that deity, to forgive people for pretty much anything. That prevented us from screwing everything up. You know, it allowed our captors, it allowed our victimizers, it allowed our murderers to sleep comfortably in their beds, to raise their children, and to continue turning the wheels of civilization. That was the purpose of it. And we're seeing it on high display here. That's where this coonery comes from. But there are some things about that we have to consider, and we also have to consider that coonery is not the way of the Creator. No, because there's one thing you have to consider. If you forgive people of everything, there is no balance. And if life is anything, it is balance. What goes up must come down. You know, if something burns hot, it burns short. You know, life is balance. You break life if you forgive everything. And since the Most High created life, naturally, He is not looking to break it. So with that in mind, we know that forgiveness of everything, no matter what, is a fool's dream. It will not be forgiveness for everything. These actions will see true justice. Now, for the people that were maybe actually thinking that they were going to see true justice on display during this case in the verdict, all anyone can really say to you is, where have you been hiding this whole time? You know, that's not the MO of this system. That is not the MO of these Gentiles. They do not know what true justice is because they fear true justice. They know what true justice means for them. They know that when true justice starts to show itself on this planet, it will be the end of their way of life. You know, they know that. So anything that they are responsible for, anything that they have their hands in, you better believe it will not have any real manifestation of true justice in it. There'll be plenty of contradictions you can find there. Just like this case. This case was a travesty. It was a mockery of justice. The sentencing was laughable. And I find it interesting that though she was convicted of murder, she received the sentencing that's usually reserved for manslaughter. You know, so what we see there is a play on words, an attempt to satisfy two parties: the general public, namely the Israelites and the black people watching this trial. Oh, see, she got convicted of murder. She's a police officer that actually got convicted of murder. You know, it's rare, but it has happened. So we shouldn't be all, shouldn't have never really got all up in the air about that in the first place. Yes, there have been cops that have been convicted of murder. And they got higher sentences than this too. But to also appease the police side of things, her conviction, was only 10 years. So, trying to serve two masters with this conviction, I believe. So, yeah. This is just another sign of that. But it's another sign of the mockery of things, the coonery instilled in us via religion, namely Christianity. The Most High does not work via methods like that. The Most High does not work via allowing people to get away with crimes, telling everyone to forgive everyone. No. And that's one of the reasons why they want the Most High forgotten. They want to replace him with a all-forgiving deity. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how much we forgive. We have no influence on what the Most High does. Our forgiveness does not shield anyone from his righteousness. So if we were to take comfort in anything, we should take comfort in that when the true verdict is given via the Most High, we will see quite a few people crying and doing a lot more, screaming too, including the coons that thought they were better people because of their unquestionable forgiveness, who thought they were better people because they were willing to forgive indefinitely. They are not better people. They are just fools who have been well trained and conditioned. See, this isn't nothing new. Our people have been doing this for a very long time. We are notorious for this forgive culture. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that if someone does something terrible, that we should take the matters into our own hands and, dish out justice. Naturally, we're not in a position to do that. The system is not designed for such things like that. But just because you're not the one dishing out justice does not mean that you have to be the one forgiving everything. You can still have the disdain worthy of the situation. You can still have the disgust that should be there when someone does something like that. It's easy to cry after you do something terrible. It's easy to beg for forgiveness after you have committed a terrible act. But the thing that separates the people who commit these crimes from the people who don't is that the people who commit these crimes only have remorse after they done it after they got caught up. The people who don't commit them, they think about these things beforehand. Hence why they don't commit such crimes. So it shouldn't even be considered how much a murderer cries after the fact. You know, I mean, it's just natural. That's what they're going to do. They're going to cry. They're going to beg for forgiveness after the fact. But there's only so much forgiveness to go around. And if you're going to give it to murderers and killers, people who clearly don't deserve it, you're going to run out of it for the people who truly do deserve it. That's why you can't just be forgiving everyone, because there will come a time where there are people that truly are worthy of your forgiveness. And if you've been forgiving everybody under the sun up until that time, you may not have the forgiveness necessary for the people that truly need it. Shalom.